So as well as winning awards all around the world for our concours paintwork, as you can see, we also do what we call bumps and scuffs. This car's come in for service. He had a small scratch on his rear wheel arch and we're just putting it right for him whilst he's here. Finding the colour for these cars, whether it's a new car or an older car, is the biggest challenge. So we thought we'd walk you through the technology we've got here at Barkaways and the process that we go through to get these cars right for you. So using this car as an example, how do you find out what colour this car is? So there's three ways that we use to do it. We can look under the bonnet and there's a paint sticker which will give us the paint code. Now some cars they're not there or they're missing, or a car's been repainted. So if we don't think that's the right colour, we can go to the paint swatches. So we're linked to PPG, we've got the PPG paint scheme. So you can start going through the various colour swatches and matching them to the car and seeing which is the best starting point for that. So you can go that route. A more accurate way of doing it, if you haven't got the sticker and is better than the colour cards, is the paint scanner. So this device scans the paint and breaks down the content of it as to what it's made of. So you can literally just put that on the car, press a button, and it comes up with a code or a name that we can then put into the computer, and we'll show you how you do that. So that sort of covers new cars. For the older cars, now that's a lot more difficult because they've all been painted. You've got 1960s cars and what have you. So what you might have, what we do have access is to the original PPG archive. So you might have a name of a colour, or you might have a code. Sometimes on the build sheets it gives you either the name or the code. Sometimes you get both. So then we go through the PPG archive and start working through what that colour actually is. So looking a bit more at the challenges we face with the older cars, whilst we're looking at the newer ones, the Scuderia over there, PPG, it's been painted by PPG, and PPG have been the paint supplier for Ferrari for many years now. So it's a current product on a current car. Obviously looking at the older cars, I mean, this one for instance is 1950s. So if you look back at the history of Ferrari, they've had several paint manufacturers over the years. So we've got the Glazeric cars, the Glidden-Salci cars, and other manufacturers going right back through. Also the paint composite has changed over the last 40, 50 years. Now we've got the cellulose paint, the two-pack paint, and we're now on water-based paint. So transposing those colours to get an authentic historical representation is particularly hard. Now, if you look at an older car, obviously there's the old colour chips. Now, some of these colour chips are old and not a true representation of the colours. Scanning the car, obviously, yes, we can scan it, but there's no guarantee of what's on it. The chances are the car's been painted several times throughout its life, and so what's on it may not be correct. So this is where we really start to work closely with the PPG archive. Obviously, being involved with PPG and running their paint scheme is a huge advantage to getting it right. They have got an archive department that have reproduced all the old colour paints, so we work very closely with those. So going back to just what I was saying, if you've got a name or a number, we can work backwards from that and eventually drill through it, and the same process that once we've got a code and we can mix the paints, then we can do the spray outs. And then we also work very closely with the historians. I mean, we do a lot of work with sort of Keith Bloomell, people like that have really researched these cars. It's amazing the amount of effort we put in before we even get the spray gun out to get these cars right.
So we're now in the mixing room where we've taken the code from the car sticker and entered that into our paint scheme database. This has brought up a choice of colours. We've now matched that to the year of the vehicle, and from doing that it's brought up a few shades of that particular colour. This is where we go to our scanner. From inputting this information, it picks up the correct variant of that colour. Once that's selected, we move on to our scales. The scales allow us to actually mix the paint, and by doing that we use the range of tinters we have here, weigh them accordingly from the database, which then gains us the correct paint and in order to achieve the correct colour for the vehicle.
So hopefully that gives you an idea of what goes on behind the scenes. So this car's come in just for some bumper work. Now the cars get stone chips and what have you. So something as simple as repainting a bumper
the amount of research and that we put into getting it right. So we've got the colour number, we've scanned the paint, we've looked on the PPG database that's then shown up that we've got like 4 or 5 different variants of this colour. So we've then drilled through the variants, got it down to the right one. You've seen that each colour is made up of a cocktail of half a dozen or so different tinters that you've seen in all the PPG pots. They're very accurately weighed out on the scales, a little tiny drop of this and a little drop of that to get the colour, and then we do the spray out. So then you come to the ultimate bit, that once we've done the spray out, then you put that on the car, and hopefully it's the same colour. You can see that one, the card's almost disappeared. So once you've got the colour, and then go ahead and actually carry out the paintwork. So from a ground up restoration to that annoying little scratch that you've got on your car, we're here to help you. Come and see the award-winning team at Barkaways. It might not cost you as much as you think.